Welcome to this episode of the No Streetlights podcast, where we explore the multifaceted human experience and the stories that shape us.
Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with the White Carnation's Adventurers Guild. They're a vibrant TTRPG and gaming community that beautifully blends culture, creativity, and camaraderie.
Founded by a group of fraternity brothers, this organization has transformed from a small group of friends into a dynamic collective, dedicated to enriching the D&D experience while showcasing the artistry of miniature painting and terrain design.
Enough of this, Tim. Let's dive right in, hear a little bit about their journey, the challenges they've faced along the road, and the unique perspectives they bring to the gaming world. Andy, Luis, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Wow. What an intro. You guys are great. Thank you for having us. Hi, everyone. So my name is Andy. I am the primary DM / one of the co-partners of the White Carnation Adventurers Guild. Or as kind of Mr. Aaron stated, I'm one of the fraternity brothers that was one of the original founders and wanted to help explore kind of the world of fantasy, world building, and kind of what D&D could bring to our little community that we were building up. And so kind of with that being said, I'll go ahead and pass off to Mr. Luis, and we can go ahead and get started with Aaron and Tim on questions.
Yeah, so my name is Luis. I am also a fraternity brother. I'm quite new to the introduction of the White Carnations. I'm quite the new dog on the streets, so it's definitely been an awesome journey. I work in public relations and PR, so that's my role in our organization, but I have multiple backgrounds in business owning, defense and military contracting, and also working with nonprofits.
Yeah, Luis, you're kind of in my wheelhouse, huh? Over here with the defense and military stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's so far treating me well.
My first question has got to be, what is your go-to class? Because I'm a sorcerer, through and through. Wild magic, all day, every day.
Oh, the wild magic sorcerer. That's beautiful. I already love it.
Yeah.
I'll say to start us off, I'm the forever DM. I'd say that's kind of where I get relegated to.
There it's at.
There
it is.
Right?
Yep.
Okay,
There it
so
is,
you're
right?
the merchant. Yeah,
So I'm
and
the
big
merchant,
bad.
I'm the BBEG, I'm the funny NPC with the weird voice. I guess that's who I am. When I do get a chance to play a player character, I would say probably favorite class would be a ranger, honestly. I'm one of the classic hunter pet companion from World of Warcraft peoples that always gets me, I think.
That's sick.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I fall very much into the artificer. I just love tinkering, creating, welding. Being the blacksmith of the party has always been one of my traits that I've been doing in the campaigns that we play, and I thoroughly enjoy just them bringing me stuff and being like, okay, let's see what we can do with this. Let's get to work.
Dwarf mounted ballista, always the way to go.
Always. There's
Sorry,
nothing
Tim.
more satisfying than hitting a goblin with a force ballista that just impels them into a wall. Gets it every time.
We're gonna do a little bit of psychoanalyzing here. So everybody's specific D&D character says something about them, right? So Andy, you being the forever DM shows that you're a relatively impatient individual because you're not going to wait on anybody else. You're going to do it yourself. And then Luis being the artificer, I think that explains that you are a bit of a helpful individual. Like you're always wanting to be somebody who's providing something to somebody else, kind of like a gifter.
For sure.
And then
Yeah,
Aaron, being
spot
the
on.
wild magic sorcerer, is a psychopath.
Yes.
Oh,
To play a sorcerer, there has to be something going on there.
Yeah.
There has to be.
But yeah, just take the fabric of the universe
Take
and
the
just...
wheel. Just take the wheel, let it go.
I'm apparently the dirty rat of the group. I love I'm a rogue through and through. Every single game I play, like if I'm sitting down with a new group, first character is always a rogue. Second character, I'll go a little crazy and do something else, but it's always a rogue first time I play. And now I feel like I'm a little mismatched here.
It depends. Are you the loot goblin of the party? Because if you're the rogue and you're not stealing some gold, there has to be something going on there.
So yes, I am absolutely the pickpocket, the aficionado. I would always look for whatever character or NPC or anybody that I could just loot from. And
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
so I got our party into a lot of fun situations in the past.
Yes, the good old does he look rich question that all DMs love to await. Oh,
So
beautiful.
I am also stuck as the forever DM in my party that hasn't played for, well, I've been in the military for 10 years. So that kind
Gotcha.
of gives you an idea of how long it's been since I've actually been able to have my original grouping together. So whenever we would play, I would be the DM, and I always loved it. And I always had a ton of fun with it. But yeah, no, I always waited for somebody to ask one of those off the wall questions, and I would just have something ready to just throw a complete wrench into their plan. Like, who's the richest looking
Oh.
guy? And I'll be like, you see a female who appears to also be looking for the richest guy. You guys
Oh,
need eyes.
damn. Okay.
You two are the richest people there.
Yeah,
Roll for
yeah.
initiative.
Or just wait for the like the natural one to pop out, and you're just like, all
Oh,
of a sudden you see you've been pickpocketed. It's like start the whole new thing.
well, how the
Your
turntables.
your hands are actually broke.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, before we get too deep into this episode, because we're going to get it right now,
Horse.
I just want to touch really quick on where everyone can find this episode, because I know a lot of people are going to be flocking to hear more about White Carnation Adventurers Guild. Not only are we on Spotify and Apple for taking us along with you on your drives, we're also on YouTube. So if you're sitting down trying to relax, you can see my beard, Tim's crispy white shirt, and these lovely gentlemen with their gaming headsets. Are y'all some gamers out here?
You know it. You know it.
Oh, filthy. So, jump over on our Discord, hit up our Patreon if you want to get these episodes early. Thank you for coming on this quest with us. Andy, Luis, could you tell us a little bit about the vision behind White Carnation and what it really means to you?
So just for starters, I would say the White Carnation Adventures Guild at the core is a D&D gaming and content creation type of organization. Our primary, I'd say, output we do is our two campaigns that are streamed on Twitch every other Saturday and Sunday. Campaign 1 usually streams Saturday evenings, and then kind of U.S. Eastern time, and then campaign 2 will stream Sunday morning, Sunday brunch time. So with that, though, we kind of started realizing, like, we wanted to expand and also include, friends and family as well. So we've recently started expanding into other means of kind of like gaming streaming as well. I started expanding into miniature painting streaming also. We partnered with another Twitch streamer and kind of decided to do a Baldur's Gate 3 stream with them. So we're doing like a 4-man co-op Baldur's Gate 3 stream. So we kind of built some camaraderie between our two communities. So we started realizing that there was just a lot of, I guess, intertwining, I guess, that we could do between other communities and us. And to kind of explain a little bit more, I'll go ahead and bounce over to Mr.
Yeah, so I guess my experience has been a little bit different. Like I said, I'm the newcomer. I'm the young blood, as some people say, coming into the organization. But nevertheless, with a good, interesting background, I'm mostly engaged into the bringing into the community, trying to have the PR set up for everything, and trying to have the teams work together in unison, so that we both have both content coming in and out, but also have an in stream of people wanting to participate and join in the different things that we do. To talk a little bit about what we mostly what we do, we run D&D campaigns, as Andy has said before. We do gaming, we do tournaments, and we also bridge the gap between gaming, TTRPGs, and the daily lives of everybody that wants to participate in this. Since there's a lot of lack of people finding groups, people finding ways to become part of the community, or people that have left it and have a desire to come back now a few years later after their magical disappearance from it. So it's definitely been that way of grounding people, bringing them to something back to their core, and bringing their inner child out. The amount of times that I've seen people's eyes glisten when you roll an at 20 on a combat, or when you playing games with the guys, or when you meet someone that sparks your curiosity, and like you guys do, just tickles that part of your brain that sparks that friendship or relationship that you have with the person. I think that that's one of the greatest strengths that we bring to the table, and so far so good.
That's incredible. Yeah, I love how you had to mention the disappearing act that a lot of TTRPG players actually end up experiencing. Let's kind of talk a little bit about the society we live in right now. We're a post Baldur's Gate 3 society. Like D&D may have okay, Stranger Things a couple years ago really brought a lot of mainstream attention. Baldur's Gate,
Yeah.
it's the biggest game in the past like 5 years as well. You know, we live in a society where Dungeons and Dragons is at an all-time high. TTRPGs, people have their eyes on these things. Have you guys experienced like navigating this kind of infrastructure building? How has that been a challenge for you, and how exactly do you get through it?
To bring your point to like that's a really big thing. Like one of the things that definitely brought to the spark is like there's so much media out there right now where it focuses around that like TTRPG, Dungeons and Dragons, but where we saw that there was a lack of it was where to participate. Where do you run? D&D campaigns are usually, hey, you have one guy that's been playing for a few years and it's like, hey, let me get a group of friends, so let's sit down and then let's do this. But there isn't many much of a community that will bring people from other types and get their feet wet into what it is to be part of a D&D group. One of the things that I enjoy about it is that a D&D group is just, it's not just a D&D group. When you're playing D&D, you're not just playing D&D. You're tapping into that inner child, like you said before, and the relationships you make with the people that you're playing on a consistent or semi-consistent basis, they become something that you participate and enjoy across how long the campaign goes. One of our campaigns have been going for a few years, and how the group has molded and traversed through those type of things and the bonds that have been created are what make the organization and the group as itself great. Introducing of Baldur's Gate and everything like that just put a little overdrive on like the amount of people that wanted to come in. So the influx of people that have been reaching out like, hey, we want to play some D&D campaigns, or hey, I'm a DM that's been DMing for X amount of time. I want to run a campaign now. Or like I have people from Europe reaching out, from Japan, from different types of the continent that are like, hey, we want to play D&D. We're interested. We're excited. We want to get this done. How can we get involved? And that's where we step in.
That's incredible.
I will say, if I can step in really quick too, another thing we also realized early on was kind of just during COVID, I got really into miniature painting and kind of terrain painting and, all that. That became like my COVID hobby. So kind of fast forward a little bit, I kept it going and I started to accrue quite a significant pile as well as a significant network of like different commissioned artists and kind of 3D printers and painters that would kind of help bring some of the bosses and terrain to life. I used this in some of our initial campaign 1 stuff, and slowly the players started realizing like out of all the D&D streams out there, there's a niche few that have the capacity for miniatures, let alone full-scale terrain builds on a Twitch stream. And so that's where we also realized like there's a niche here that we could definitely tap into, and let's like dive head in because we already have the infrastructure to do it.
That is a huge thing we've seen across the board for developing a community and growing, is really finding your niche and then accelerating your platform to another level. But one thing that I'm really interested in since our conversation with Nigel is inclusion and cultural expression. So whenever we were talking about what we wanted to discuss in this episode for you guys, you said we really want to highlight that we are Latinos, and as part of that community, we love bringing that reality into these other planes that we're being transported to. So can you talk about how your heritage gets integrated into your storytelling and your gameplay?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and for starters, I'll go and do this one. So we really so for me, my experience growing up, I'm second generation. My parents were both educators. So a lot of kind of my focus was on school and academics. And so to escape a lot, me and my dad would kind of, we had fantasy, we had Star Wars, we had Harry Potter, we had, these mutual nerdy and geeky interests that obviously he passed down to me, but it was still something that we could, bond with at the end of the day. Fast forward, that comes in, as I'm in college, I'm continuing my love of nerdy shenanigans. And at the same time, I discovered the fraternity and I realized like, oh my God, there's other Latino students out there like me, or not even Latino students, just other college students out there like me who are just trying to find a home and just a kind of a common ground. And while we're world building, we start to kind of realize like, okay, what are common themes that we want to take from these races, from these cultures that we're doing? the one example that I love the most, and probably is the one that's like really treasured close to my heart, is we had a player that wanted to take the reins of developing a sea elven culture. Taking inspiration from Black Panther 2, actually, we dived headfirst into what would a sea elven culture based on Mayan influence be like in the water. Like we developed a whole pantheon based on cycle of life and death, based on the moon, the sun, based on even fertility and the harvest. If you're familiar with Mayan culture, the sun is very key to them because it's integral in keeping time for them to discuss like timelines and change of seasons. So what we did is we swapped that and said, okay, well, if they're a sea elven culture, we put dependency on the moon and its lunar cycles instead. And so with that, we started to kind of blend in all these themes and aspects of the culture, and especially our indigenous culture, and we blended it into how could this work in a fantasy, and we brought it to life. And we've done that for several other cultures now within our world, and it's always an amazing process to see it done.
That's awesome. It's super creative too.
Thank you.
So I came from the whole different spectrum. Like I'm first generation American. I came to the United States at the age of 17. No English. I didn't know culture. I'm originally from Venezuela, so a lot of the things and a lot of the culture examples that I knew from back home did not translate to American society. So a lot of it was me just playing D&D and real life D&D to get accustomed to what it is to be a Latino in the United States. Learning from this and being like, hey, let me try and blend what I know as an individual and try to put it into what I can put. So gracefully, I came to the States. I was able to work my way into community college, getting into university in Florida, and that's where I also got introduced to the fraternity. Definitely one of those things that I was like, hey, I've been lone wolfing it for the past like 4 years. Like I left my family behind. I left all my siblings, my loved ones behind, just so I can like try to make a name for myself. And these people took me in as family, and well, that's one of the things that I carry around with me is the love that I have for the culture and for our people, because we don't have to be from the same country to just have the same love for each other that sparks. And then that is also brought into what we do with D&D. Not only is it the culture that we bring into the games when it comes to like how Andy spoke about the sea open, but it also is the mannerisms, the colloquial jokes, the types of like things we bring.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I enjoy, because each person brings their own perspective into the game, and their characters resemble a little bit of them when they come into the game. So seeing how they portray themselves, not only on a fantastical side, but off the stream and off the campaign, definitely brings love to the culture and accentuates how Latinos function in, I guess, in most things, and in our case, TTR.
Yeah. I can really tell the dynamics between, I can only observe you two here, but I can tell the dynamics of how you bounce off of each other, the way you're able to explain your backgrounds and everything. Like, Andy, you're talking about, coming from a certain type of background, and then Luis, yours is like the opposite spectrum, and yet you guys have bonded over this exact same, source of entertainment and fun and camaraderie. And I can only imagine what it must be like with your other members, like working behind the scenes and everything. Like, is there a technique or any kind of way that you have found to help keep everybody behind the scenes staying motivated and working towards a common goal, or does it kind of feel natural?
One of the kind of things that I guess we got going for us is we're gonna do a little bit of a plug here. Is so a lot of us, a majority of our behind the scenes team are fraternity brothers of Lambda Theta Phi, which is the oldest and largest lab fraternity in the nation, and we have chapters spread all throughout the United States. And so that's kind of one thing that is really kind of cool. Like no matter when you joined, no matter when you graduated, we can literally all be in a Discord chat together and just start talking about our fraternity experience. And more often than not, we've had that very similar experience, just with different names and just in different places.
It's awesome.
So it's really cool and really just a really satisfying thing to know that there's a whole community of people that are, like you said, come from a complete opposite side of the cultural spectrum, but yet can still bond with me completely over what it means to be a brother. And so that's one thing already. And I will also say the luxury also that we got to experience as fraternity brothers, there was a lot of professional development we did. We got to learn Robert's Rules of Order. We got to learn how to conduct a program. We got to learn how to fundraise. So there was a lot of professional skills that we got to basically learn and now could kind of apply that to this organization. I'll go and bounce off to Mr. Luis as he's one of our team coordinators.
Yeah, so that falls a little bit under my umbrella is how to my experience as a business owner. It's very hard to be able to tap into productivity and like talking numbers and statistics and then be able to say like, hey, how's everybody doing? How are your lives outside of this going? And I think one of the things that like blended the group together was that we're not only just like, hey, we're here for business only. We're also like really tight knit group. And because we have that cultural background of being part of the fraternity, we have a very distinguished way of separating work and fun. So the bonding happens mostly outside of work, but when it comes into the work habitat, it becomes 1,000 times more productive. One of the things that I've come in as organization comes is bringing them together and seeing how we've hit every metric at accelerated rates that I thought I would have never been able to hit, just seeing the group that we had. But the love and care that there is not only for the individuals but for the families that also surround the individuals is one of the core things that we bring into our group. There's fathers, there's people that are starting families, there's military veterans, there's also people who are active duty, there's people who are on different sides of the country. And one of the things that brings us together, and that's why I think TTRPGs are such a great thing, is that the commonality is let's sit down and play this game. And then all of it just flows after that.
Wow. That is incredible. That's a lot that you have to take into consideration too. And the fact that you guys were able to cultivate these skills during your time in college, like I know there's kind of like that meme that floats around that college is a waste of time and things, but you guys took your experiences and were able to actually put that into applicable real world situations that you have turned around for the best for yourselves, regardless of what your major may have been in or whatever. Like working in the fraternity, it taught you skills that you're using now to grow and expand your business and get your story and your society and culture out there. That's amazing.
I will say that's one of often the cliches or the stereotypes often associated with Greek life. That's is that it's just you're just there to party, you're just there to be debaucherous, you're just there to kind of waste your college experience, as they say. And that's often why you have a lot of big pushes by academic councils to kind of do away with Greek life as extracurriculars. However, I will say there's always a hidden side of Greek life, which is multicultural Greek life, which ranges all the way from African American fraternity and sororities, the Divine Nine, to the Latino and Asian and kind of Pan American fraternity and sororities as well, even Native American fraternity and sororities. So it's very diverse. It's very uplifting to help bring voices to maybe students who might struggle to be get their voices heard by the university. But also it's a place to find family. I've often described a home away from home. And so with that being said, like I said, there's a lot of professional development that maybe people don't think of that goes into that. And like I said, like Robert's Rules of Order, that's one of the first things that we're taught as kind of interest, not even full scale brothers and sisters, just as interested people in the fraternity is we're taught how to conduct a business meeting, how to be professional, how to take and record minutes, like I first, I second, all that fancy stuff. So it was interesting then looking back and seeing like, all of us step into a business meeting and it's like, oh, or like all of us step into a Discord meeting together and be like, oh, we all kind of know how this is gonna go. Like it's just motion to start the meeting, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And the key skills the active skills that you learn and also the passive skills, like, hey, how do you tie a tie? How do you present yourself at a meeting? What is a suit attire? How are you supposed to show up to the professional meeting? What's the difference between semi-professional and casual wear? Stuff like that you think that for some people would be like, oh, like I got it. Like I've known this for a while. But you're also talking to the communities that sometimes don't have that father figure or don't have that brother figure or don't have that So when you're walking into an environment that it's just, I guess in fraternity wise, which is, I guess, all male in this case, different now, I believe, but I will refer to that as that. But stepping on and having big brothers 2, 3, 4, 10, 15 years above you that can be like, hey, don't forget to do your taxes. This is my accountant.
Yeah.
Here, let me
Yeah.
have this resource at your disposal. Or like, hey, I know you're just coming out of college. Have you looked into like applying to this company? Or like, hey, you sure that this is exactly what you want to do? I don't think that you're happy. Everything from ranges from professional development, financial advising, psychological and therapy work that goes into these communities. I think that's one of the most helpful things. And at least for me, on a personal note, like that was one of the things that at least shocked me. Like I grew up watching the like stereotypical American like fraternities, and then when I walked into campus and I had half an English and a backpack of hopes and dreams on my back, it's very hard to like bridge that gap between fraternity and sorority schooling and just having a bunch of big brothers just being out there looking for me like, hey, I'll pick you up. Hey, I'll take you to this. Hey, you need groceries. Hey, I know you haven't eaten in X amount of time. Here, let me buy you food. Those are the memories that like stick to your core and push forward to the next generation.
As an ancient, free, and accepted Master Mason, I can strongly identify with how important it is to have that baseline of, hey, this is my brother. I understand that what they're telling me is from a place of respect and love, and I understand that this person has my best interest at heart. Yeah. This person isn't going to blow smoke up my behind. They're not going to conflate their interests with mine. They are truly looking for me to bring out the best in myself. So I am so grateful that you guys have brought that concept to our platform. So thank you. If you feel like you're missing that, there are options. Andy, please. Yes. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say shout out to the Freemasons actually, because a lot of our founding fathers based a lot of our fraternal traditions and cultures on Freemason traditions and cultures because they themselves were Freemasons as well.
So I want to take the opportunity here and tie it into the way you guys just described both of those organizations between the fraternity and Freemasons. That's the basic outline of how the military is supposed to operate too.
Yeah.
You know, like you get a bunch of like these 17, 18-year-olds fresh out of high school, fresh out of their parents' house. They don't know nothing about taxes. And then you have the old head over there who's 25 years deep into their career.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you haven't eaten anything, huh? Or you're not drinking enough water, huh? You know, a lot of people, they do have negative things to say about these organizations individually, fraternities, the military, and Freemasons, but there's a certain level of camaraderie, brotherhood, sisterhood, and familiar values that's instilled through these things. And Luis, I'm so glad that you had those people who were able to step up and be your big brother and help take care of you during such a tumultuous transitional period in your life. That's a lot of people, they don't get that opportunity right off the bat. And I'm really glad that you had that. I do want to go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into your team and your guys' motivation and common goals here. As team members, from everything I gather, they also are your players, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Every single one of my behind the scenes team member is a player, barring one who's a partner of a player. I'll say that. That was and so but he said himself he wasn't really interested in D&D. He's just happy that his partner was.
So I feel like this has to help cultivate like that creativity and execution dual role in your guys' projects.
That's the push forward, is that how Andy said it. And he said it way like at the beginning of all of this, we were just playing D&D. There was nothing more like it. It was just a bunch of people that wanted to get together, play a game, have some fun banter, have some fun things. And then all of a sudden we're like, hey, there's a network at our disposal that should be reached out to, that would love to participate. How can we as individuals, professionals, students that have all this going on in ourselves, how can we bring that together to make something that not only benefits the community itself, but also benefits us? It's all retroactive in that aspect. So We brought in a bunch of friends that were like, hey, you know what? Like, I love this, but I also have this skills that I can put into the table. Or, hey, you know, I want to be part of this campaign, but you know what? I also want to be part and put this onto the table. And all of a sudden, it became like plugging bricks into a house, and they all started to fit in. We went from a team of 3, 4, maybe 5 to a team of 7, 8, 9. All of a sudden, just because people wanted to participate and saw the vision that I guess Andy started and then communicated to us as part of the team, is that, hey, like, this is something that can build legacy, not only for the people here, but also touch the hearts of people that are not heard around us. So bringing them together and finding that love that we have for it definitely was what led a straight path into what we're going, and hopefully achieving a few more goals by this Q4. And definitely excited to see all of them, the relationships that we've made, the camaraderie that has been shown, the attentiveness not only to them but their families and their loved ones, and having to be part of different families, because at the end of the day, we're all part of the same family and we're all part of their lives. So that impact is, I guess, one of the like sweet rewards.
What a beautiful segue you've provided me. Thank you so much, Mr. Luis.
He's good like that, right? He's good with those transitions.
Excellent. Oh my God. So we've spent a little while getting to know you guys, getting to learn what the organization is about. But one thing that Tim and I really focus in on for these interviews is, what does the future hold? I understand that you guys are all about growth, reaching more people, but how are you shaping the world of...
I guess in the way that we want to do it, like I and the team decided to take it in 3 steps, because our 3 core pillars that we like to establish when we're doing. One is the familiar side, which is not only cultivating the progress of our own individuals in the community, but also offering resources to them as a way of building them to reach the outcomes that they've wanted, not only in their personal lives, but also in the TTRPG space that they've wanted. Be it start their own campaigns, build new characters, develop a new world that people can develop in, but also being like, hey, I'm down the street from you. If you need anything, we're here. Or we've been able to help people who start families to be like, hey, if there's any resources that we can be a part of, like, let's put some of our funds into that to help out and bring that side. The second part, or the second pillar that we touch on, is the scholastic, or I guess the scholar type of it, which is reaching college students, saying like, hey, there is Latinos in the community that touch on spaces that you participate in. Even though you may not be aware that they exist, this is a bridge that we wanted to extend to you guys. So through fraternity resources, through multicultural organizations on campus, we've been able to reach out to different types of individuals that have been like, hey, we want to play TTRPGs and we want to be part of a community that loves us for our Latino roots. And we're like, hey, perfect. Come on in. We'll have that conversation, join one of the campaigns, and then we'll head from there. And then I guess the third one is the point that I touched on before, which is legacy. It's building something that could be outside of just us, to the point that it could reach not only on a national or a community level, but also on an international level, to reach spaces like South America that may not know what TTRPGs are. The resources that I had when I started in Venezuela, I had no miniatures or didn't know what D&D was. But this is something that can be breached into other communities, into other cultures, that can bring us all together. And I think we've been doing really great. We're starting different types of multiple streams, music, gaming, TTRPGs. We do a lot of that. We also have different world buildings and miniature paintings. We're starting national competitions for competitive gaming, be it League of Legends, Overwatch, stuff like that. But at the same time, also breaching those conversations that need to be had about what it is to be Latino and what impact we can have.
I will also say shout out. I'm going to give us a shout out to our social media team, because on the horizon, they have an interview project coming up where they are going to be interviewing not only our players, but also some of our NPCs, some of our bosses, and really trying to kind of create almost a in-person or an in-world interview series that we can kind of share our lore a little bit more, but also share the emotion and kind of character development that happens behind these processes.
So stay tuned.
So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'd say that's the most immediate one, as we don't want to reveal all the cards too early, you know.
Oh my God. Hold on. Interviewing the bad guy, because the bad guy is
Yeah,
never bad in his heart, in his mind.
exactly,
There's a reason he's doing what he's
exactly.
doing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
and more often than not, the DM, if they do get to monologue, it's often in this context of like, okay, guys, just let me say this speech or whatever, and then you guys can blow me up or whatever, right? You never really get to explore the backstory, or if you do, it's like almost seems forced, I guess, in a way. So this kind of seems a lot more natural. It allows the bad guy to kind of be more explored in a more, I guess, human way. To me, I really, really, even though now I'm kind of marbled out and everything, there was a period in time when Marvel villains like Thanos, from Killmonger from Black Panther 1, like all these gray area villains that I was like, dude, I'm really starting to root for these guys. Like I can kind of see where they're coming from a little bit. Okay, it gets a little fucked up at the end, but it's you love to almost hate the bad guy at that point. So
You're
I
like,
I
I
definitely agree with
kind of
that.
feel for you, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exactly that. And so we kind of wanted to explore that, especially with NPCs, especially with maybe deities as well that are interacting with the players, but also kind of just the
Damn.
players themselves and give them time to detox, and kind of just share a little bit about what's going on behind in their head. Like,
Uh, it gave me this old school vibe of like I don't know if I might be dating myself here just a little bit too much, but back in the day they would do on Cartoon Network, they would have like the Cartoon Fridays, and it turned
yeah,
into like the Cartoon Network City thing, and they would do like these little clips and bits with the characters. So the
yes,
moment you said, you know, the player characters and NPCs and bad guys are going to get interviews, I immediately jumped to that, and I was thinking of like what would Mojo Jojo say if he got brought in and was like, hey, so why did you destroy half the city the other day or something? And I'm just thinking like what a villain from D&D would say. That's so
yeah,
cool. I cannot wait for that. That is it's projects like that and cool ideas like that that really help companies and projects like White Carnations stand out so much from like the Mercers of the world and the R.A. Salvatores. You know, they're phenomenal at what they do, but you guys don't need to be doing what they're doing. You can do your own thing and stand out and be amazing at it. So I'm so glad that you guys are exploring these creative and unique and fun ways to really get your company out there and be able to reach the communities you're trying to reach, to enact the growth and support and love that you're pushing for the world to have.
yeah. Thank you. It's been an amazing journey, and as kind of you pointed out, the cool thing with all our behind the scenes players is all of the skills they're applying or utilizing right now in kind of the White Carnation stuff behind the scenes are skills that they either do for their current careers, or it's hobbies and skill sets that they've developed through college or just self-learning or self-teaching. And that's kind of one thing that we really wanted to also have for the people that work behind the scenes for us, is we wanted to make this not seem like it was just another task or another job or something to add to the chore list, but something that they honestly could dive into and really have pride in doing. And I think we've definitely done that. Like our social media team I'll constantly give them props, as well as our network of creative content, like our artists that we do. I fucking love all the commissions that we get.
Speaking of all these artistic contributions, how do you guys feel that these miniature paintings and soundtrack commissions, like how do you feel they overall enhance the overall gaming experience for your viewers?
I'll take this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'll describe it in the best way that I can, which is if we were to close our eyes and just like empty our minds, and then all of a sudden the Pirates of the Caribbean theme just plays in the background. There's a feeling of joy, of adventure, of the thrill, of the desire to be in this moment of like, hey, we're pirates, something's about to happen. Same thing when you hear a tranquil forest or when you hear the clash of metal in the background. It translates into how you are, and it definitely helps the environment in which you, as a player or even as a DM, have all those things come together to make the experience better. So shout out to all our creative teams that do our music, that do our miniatures, and do the painting, because they are the world. As a newly created DM, I can say that the world that you build is in your head. But having somebody take those ideas and points in your head and put them into reality is what makes the difference between an interactive game and a continuous flow of inspiration and love and caring for the campaign that you're making.
Could not have said it better myself right there. We have quite, as you said, we have a soundtrack artist who does our commissions. We have a map maker, a logo maker. We have around three to five different miniature printing and painting shops, all that specialize in kind of different skills, and that we all kind of like tweak depending on which commission we're looking for. Like, oh, like I like glow effect for someone to use this person, or I like basing, so I'm gonna go use this person. I like scenery creation, so I'm gonna go to this person instead. And they've all kind of begun to develop these portfolios by kind of all these different commissions that we've done or that we've undertook from them. And then I'd like to say kind of one of the ones that I also really enjoy is that it's allowed our kind of the immediate family members and friends, also our players, kind of introduce themselves as well and let their creative expressions come out. One of the partners of our players actually did a lot of our initial character commissions. And we recently got done kind of sending off the thank you gift, because we were like, you know what, dude, this person has done like 25 commissions for us. We need to send them something. We need to get like some money in their pocket, because this is just too much good work. We're definitely just super appreciative that we can just have people come up and be like, hey, I saw this, or this, I heard about this character idea and I put this together. And it's like, Jesus, man, like I love that.
And it feeds in because the amount of the people that we support us. And the more we can give them the ability to shine with interacting and putting their little sprinkle into that campaign that we're playing, the more they feel engaged with what our message is and what we are providing for the community. So definitely one of the things that we enjoy the most is, hey, like, I know this artist has been having a little bit of trouble, or like, I know this is a Latino artist that wants to break themselves into the space. You know what? Let's funnel ourselves into that. Let's bring them up. Let's try to put them in the forefront of the community, and we've seen them skyrocket up after that, and that's our way of also giving a little back to them, because our world is in their hands. I definitely appreciate it.
What a beautiful way to put that. I've now heard the word work too many times. So my next question is, how do you still have fun with this massive effort that you're undertaking? The question I had from the very beginning that kind of led into this was, what's your favorite DM hack? Because as a DM, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders. And for me, whenever they encounter an NPC, on site, I roll a d20 for whatever stat they're interacting with, and that's what they have to deal with. So if they're talking to a blacksmith and they want to determine his intelligence, like, hey, I need this or that, can you do it? Hey, I need an immovable rod. Okay, cool, I rolled a 3. I'm going to put a rod in the ground and not let you touch it. That's an immovable rod. So, do you want to go into some DM hacks or how you have fun with this?
For some DM hacks that I do for kind of just to make my life easier, I will say, just starting off, DMing is a lot of improv. I will say that. That's one of probably the biggest mistakes you make early on DMing, is you try to create all the different pathways and prepare for all the possible scenarios that you think your players are going to do, only to find out 30 minutes in that you didn't think of it, that you didn't think of the one thing that they just happened to do.
Throw the book out. Whole thing is gone.
Throw it out, right? And so I think I learned early on that it became more of like, no, it's almost of like, how well can you adapt? How well can you improv? How well can you not get overwhelmed with the creativeness? Sometimes just the goofiness of your players, because at the end of the day, it can be frustrating, but just take a second to step back and appreciate that these players, these individuals, are taking the time to let their creative juices flow in a world or in a story that you're creating. And I think that's the beauty of it at the end of the day. But to help, I'd say another DM hack I would say would be to no, I don't actually world build or lore build until my players need it. Case in point, there's several continents, regions, kingdoms in like my world of Mythendria that haven't been established yet. If my players ask about the lore, I might think of maybe one fact on the spot and might just hold on to that. But these places have no established lore whatsoever, and they won't be until my players express interest that that's where they want to go, that that's where some enemy they are looking for is hidden, that there's something they need from in that region, or just whatever. But I'm not going to develop that lore until I need to. And that's become really, really helpful and really helped with my time management and like stress as a DM. Because yeah, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this to all the DMs out there listening. They're never gonna ask about the genetic family lineage of the queen who never was in this kingdom, or the military logistics and the military history behind the different special forces units in the kingdom. Like, no one's gonna ever ask about that. I'm sorry. So just kind of, keep it simple for yourself, I'll say.
And if they do ask, who's in charge?
Exactly. Exactly.
Big question that any player is ever going to ask if they hear of a foreign country is, and this is probably across the board for every single player, is what's their strongest alcohol?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Priorities first. Let's talk about the booze, and then we'll talk about how we can save the kingdom.
Yeah. How rich are they? Are they have any fun exports? Like, oh, when can we go? When can we go there? Oh, it's gonna take us like 2 months. Okay, never mind. I'm not interested. Yeah, come on. Like, don't stress yourself out developing whole books of lore. If it, like, just think about it. When will the players ever ask about it? And then divide that by like 10, because you can't predict player randomness and chaoticness. So, like I said, don't do it unless you have to.
What about you, Felice, being a relatively new DM? What hacks have you discovered to help you kind of get through the slog that is world building?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. More because I'm more enticed to different types of literary spectra. So fantasy was never something that I knew off the bat. So I've been trying to sit down and be like, okay, so if I were to bring my side of the table into what world this could be, how can I make it in a way that they would not only feel comfortable, but also understand the nuances? So I started just using research from what I found from other DMs, sitting down from them and being like, okay, so they're great at this, or they're great at this. They're really good at this. What am I really good at? And I found that I'm really good at making action sequences. That's my direct prerogative. That's what I enjoy doing, like world building on action. So what I used is like, hey, if this is an action sequence that I want my players to go through, what is the circumstances that I have to build around it for it to make it happen? Or if I want to streamline this in this direction, what are the steps that they have to take to be there and be part of this thing? So I took a different aspect from Andy, and then I built the world around the things that I wanted them to experience. And then after taking in the players' backstories and everything, I was like, okay, so like this for this to exist, then this must exist. And that's how the world started like coming in together piece by piece. So definitely as a new DM, the tip that I take is like, take what you like most about playing D&D and use that as the core points to bring when you start your campaign. And I'm running one right now. It's not fantasy. It's based on a very nuanced, but it's coming back to the light, which is the Warhammer universe, the 40K universe.
Ooh,
and
nice.
I'm running a campaign on that, and having not only the extensive knowledge that the creators and the writers of this franchise have brought into, but also how I can put these action sequences that I've wanted to put into reality, have them shape the world that they're in, has made it 1,000 times easier for me to just come up with things and try to be that DM for them. Even though not perfect, but I still think that it helps me a little bit more when it comes to that.
Heck yeah. I don't really have any hacks that I can remember that I used to do. Andy, I was very much, when I first started off as a DM, I was the person who came up with every single possible conclusion of what the players are going to do.
Yeah.
And then every single session, they would surprise me. So the only thing I can remember that I always did to make sure to have near me was a list of NPCs' names, basic traits for that NPC. And then anytime they were like, who's the richest person around here? I would just kind of like roll a couple dice, and whatever the number ended up being, I'd be like, that's Gloshkin Dargendorf.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The name
That was
list.
the only hack
That's where
I
it
ever
starts.
really got good at doing. So
I will
Epic
say
name.
there's plenty of name generators out there to use them.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
think there's one that I do that's I think like DM Stash or DM Table or something
Mhm.
like that, but it's an RNG generator and I use that for all my NPCs. My players
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
shopkeep. I'm just like, all right, give me 2 seconds and do a couple clicks. I'm like, all right, I like this one. Let's go.
Yeah, there's a million free tools out there that
Yeah.
DMs can use to help. Like the biggest one right now would be Chat GPT. I don't know exactly what like a
Yes.
Chat GPT fueled campaign write up or whatever would look like, but it's probably going to be something wild. So hey, maybe it'll be fun. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that's what I do in my professional life is just working with AI and development and trying to like feed things into it and try to make it learn from this. And one of the things that we decided to do was, hey, let me feed this fantasy books into the AI. Let me feed Lord of the Rings into it. Let me feed a Warhammer storyline into this. Let me feed Matt Mercer's campaign into this, or let me feed like our campaign into this. And then all of a sudden it became that servo that just lurks around you, that robot that is like, hey, I need a name. And then he'll just be like, hey, cool name, backstory. There you go. And I'm like, oh, perfect. This is exactly what I needed. So definitely the bridge between technology and D&D has been one of the things that has been a crucial tool for, I guess, for DMs and for players themselves. So I'm definitely a big like, hey, use the tool, it exists, be part of it, enjoy it, because it'll make not only your life easier, but it'll also bring things to life for you. So generating
Great.
images or generating things about your characters or generating backgrounds and planes and stuff like that fills the picture of what you want to put in that campaign.
And as someone who I will say we started out with a lore sheet of like 60 pages or so that was all handwritten, most of it by me, and kind of your DM creative spells that you just keep writing and then you're like, oh shit, it's 2 a.m. and then okay, but I've written 5 pages though, right? And so most of it was that, but then I hit a point where I was like, dude, let me do exactly that. Let me take this Luis's advice. Let me feed this into a GPT. Let's create a GPT that uses only our lore for reference, and let's see what we can do with it. And we started doing that. I started using the GPT to expand on new regions or new kind of areas, new kingdoms that I needed to. And then I would go in and just tweak the lore or just tweak some of the names or tweak the geography to what I needed it to be. And it's become so helpful in helping to kind of create almost the skeleton, if you will, of our story, and then allowing me as the DM to kind of adapt and kind of plug in the pieces, if you will, or the player stories, if you will.
So, gentlemen, we're coming up on our time. So before we wrap this, I do want to ask, what do you guys want to talk about that we haven't touched on yet? Or what message do you want to leave our viewers with?
Gosh, I would say a new topic we kind of, or I guess a topic to close up on would maybe be if you are someone who's interested in D&D, and I'll actually say I'll point this more towards if there's a younger audience, those of you who might be in middle school, maybe in high school, or maybe even in college, and you develop that interest for D&D, and but you're just hesitant. You can always find a welcoming company or welcoming group, welcoming community, whether it's Reddit, Facebook. I would highly recommend local game stores. Literally just type in Google local game stores and a bunch will pop up. Anything from like board game stores to like kind of video game trade-in stores. Usually they will host little communities and kind of everything from video game tournaments, card game tournaments, war gaming tournaments, and D&D stuff as well. Check it out and become part of that community, because I promise you, they love nothing more than to bring someone new in and to bring it in a safe and respectable manner. So that's just one thing I would say is really do not be afraid to put yourselves out there, because at the end of the day, our D&D, role playing, whatever you want to do, gaming can be whatever you want it to be. And like I said, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but you can also create the world that you want to, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and to bounce off a little bit from that is not only bringing the younger community, like Andy said, but also the community that has their 9 to 5s. I know that one of the things that most people struggle is like, hey, like I just entered the workforce, or I've been in the workforce for X amount of time. Like, what can I do? What are my hobbies? Like, I don't have the time to dedicate myself to a specific thing or have a huge commitment because I have responsibilities and priorities. But to those people that have that, like, there's always space. There's always a time that you can sit down, talk to someone, have that conversation, be part of a game, hop in once in a while. And that love that still is, and feeding that inner child that I know that sometimes gets a little put in the background after we engage in those, I guess, what I call the adulting of life.
Yeah.
Is bring that back, because not only will the joy of experiencing this and being back, it'll reflect on you, but it'll reflect on everything that you do. The moment that the day that I have like, hey, I know tomorrow I got D&D, so let me get all this done. Let me figure this out. Let me get, let's get everything done at work. Let's come back because I got D&D with the guys later on today. Or, hey, like I have this to look forward to. And then that builds a community. I know that I touch a lot about this in a personal, which is like, there's a lot of like people feeling lonely. Like the people talk about what is a loneliness epidemic that's going around. And I feel like the best way to solve that is by saying, hey, there's community out here. We want you. We appreciate you. Join us. We're only one click, one phone call, one text message, one Discord, one Reddit message away. And we are more than welcome to have you, because there is more than enough space for your creative individuality, for your personal love, for your special characteristics to be shaped and put into the game and the world that you want to be part of. So that's my message to the people.
Beautiful, Luis. And I want to leave a quick blessing here for you two and all of our listeners out there who are engaged in TTRPGs or any kind of community-based projects and games. May your players always show up on time, and may your games never get delayed. Now, I think it was a really important moment for Andy, Luis, for you guys to let the listeners know, where can you be located at? Social media, YouTube, projects that are coming up, things to be excited about. Take this opportunity. Please plug everything White Carnations to our listeners.
You can go ahead and find us at White Carnation Adventures on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, and soon to be YouTube and Reddit as well. Cool thing is, if you guys want to take it a step further and join our community and actually try to develop your own campaign, or even come join one of ours, you can join our Discord as well at Discord, /GG White Carnation Adventures also. So we went ahead, same tagline everywhere you can find us. Luis, am I forgetting anything?
No, I think that's good. If you want more information on different resources that you've heard about the fraternity and you want to get more information about that, or even be part of the community that we're in, I think we have our Instagram ads. I think for Andy, it's at White Carnation Adventures. For me, it's at Lewis MIPH. And yeah, just reach out. We're more than welcome. We want more players. We want more people to come and join us. And don't be afraid. We're out here. We want to play some games. We want to talk stories. We want to experience different adventures. And we're more than welcome to have you guys in.
As a co-host, I feel like it's very important that I provide a quick hack here to let all of our listeners know that these exact links will be located in the description below. So please check those out.
Gents, thank you so much. The big lesson that I'm walking away from this conversation with is that I need to be developing what needs to be developed. Instead of just spinning my wheels in all directions, where am I gaining traction?
Yeah.
And Luis, the thing that you taught me today that I'm going to carry forward into tomorrow is, how do I get to yes? The way I get to yes, according to Mr. Pantoja, is steering into my strengths. If action is where my heart leads me, I need to get better at that. I need to aim in that direction. So, thank you guys for sharing so much about your organization, your own personal journeys and stories, and helping us entertain ourselves and spark our creativity.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, we're definitely excited. Hopefully there'll be more of these to come. We would love to come back and share our little experiences on the progress of White Carnations. And also, we would like to also extend it to you guys to come and join us for a game. Maybe be part of a card, maybe run a character, a one-up, if you say, be a BBG for one
maybe
time.
Some villain cameos from the
Maybe-
No Streetlights
maybe some
crew
cameos.
over here.
Yeah, who
I am
knows?
depression.
And I am anxiety.
So,
Please.
Oh, man.
the same way that you guys have opened your platforms to us, we would like to also open ours to you guys. So you guys are more than welcome to come and join us. And love what you guys are doing. Definitely an amazing project that you guys have on your hands, and nothing but blessings and great fortune to you guys. And may you always roll them nat 20s.
Hey.
I love that. Thank you so much for the invite, Luis. And I want to let you know the little bit of tidbit of knowledge that I'm taking from this conversation. Aaron, you did a beautiful job of summing it up, but I also want to state that community can be found everywhere. No matter how different our life experiences are, our community very much is similar in a lot of ways, looking for your big brothers and your big sisters and your little brothers and your little sisters, and just making sure the people around you are eating. That's the best possible bit of advice that can be thrown out there. So thanks all of you listeners for making it this far into the episode. If you have made it this far, you're awesome. Go check out White Carnation Adventures. They're absolutely incredible.
One last thing, guys. There's a quote from our fraternity. It says, "En la unión está la fuerza." It means in unity there is strength.
What a beautiful way to end. Reach out to us on all our socials, as well as White Carnation. Hit us up on our Discord. Let us know what you want to hear about from the White Carnation. Please share this episode wherever you're encountering it, because if it brightened your day, it's going to brighten your friend's day. If you want to collaborate with us, hit us up on any of our socials. You know our email. Tim's got that in the description. Chill out.
Our podcast is for entertainment purposes and cannot be substituted for professional medical advice.
If you need help now, please call 911, or you can call or text 988 for immediate intervention. We've partnered with BetterHelp since our inception in case you need protracted support. You can go to betterhelp.com/NSLP to get 10% off your first month, and it helps the channel grow quite a lot.
Beautiful.
All the links are going to be down in the description. Please check below for the show notes. So, as I love to always remind every single one of you amazing individuals out there, be good to yourselves and each other.
We love you.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
Special thanks to Eric Spears, our first ever Fireside Chat patron.
You're awesome, Eric. Thank you.
You're right on time. No street lights, but we're finding our way. In the dark, but we've got something to say. Lessons learned.